Your teen just got diagnosed with functional neurological disorder or FND. The doctor said everything they needed to say, handed you a printout or a website link at best, and then sent you home. No follow-up appointment, no roadmap, and absolutely no answer to the question that has been screaming in your head since you walked out of that office or the hospital. That is, what do I actually do now? If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. That moment right after the diagnosis, what you do in the very first week actually matters more than most parents realize. Research shows that the longer treatment is delayed after an FND diagnosis, the harder recovery becomes, which is like the worst nightmare for parents like you. So in today's video, I am going to give you the 7-step roadmap the hospital didn't today, right now. By the end of this video, you will go from feeling lost to having a home response plan and a clear strategy for the school. You're going to be ahead of this condition instead of chasing after it. So let's dive in. For those who are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Dr. Lee. I'm a pediatric health psychologist and the founder of Teen FND Academy, an online coaching program to help teens with FND and their parents get their lives back. I've been doing this for many years, and I wish I had this 7-step roadmap 10 years ago, but I'm gonna give it to you right now. So here is a step 1. The biggest obstacle in this first week is about doubt. The scans are all normal, right? EEG was normal, everything was normal. So how could this be a real diagnosis? And that's what a lot of families feel. Like, it doesn't make sense. I've never heard of this diagnosis before. So is this even a real thing, or are you just joking, right? So let me explain. FND is diagnosed by inclusion. That's the gold standard. That means the neurologist or the doctor identified a specific positive clinical signs that point to FND diagnosis. So it's not just because they couldn't find anything else. Normal scans are actually expected because FND is a problem with how the brain communicates with the body, which is a software part, not the actual physical damage or structure, which is a hardware problem. So if your doctor did not explain those positive signs they saw, it's actually worth a follow-up. But do not let this normal test result make you doubt the reality of the symptoms. You know your child is not making things up, and then you know nothing shows up, and so you know there's got to be something. So the very first thing is, the sooner you accept the diagnosis, or more like understanding the diagnosis, that the faster the right treatment can begin, which leads to step number 2. Here is the reality of the resource desert, let me tell you, because I need to be honest with you. The medical system is not currently set up to hand you a pre-packaged plan. Like, if there is a cancer diagnosis, there is a set protocol and treatment plan for that particular type of cancer. I used to work with cancer patients, so I know that there are specific protocols and types of treatments. Unfortunately, not with FND. A 2024 study in pediatric neurology found that while FND is wildly common, it is grossly under-researched. This is what it means. There are only about 30-ish dedicated pediatric FND centers in the entire United States. So this means most doctors, even the ones who give a diagnosis, actually do not have a list of referrals to give you because they don't talk with each other. And they often don't know where the FND-literate therapists or specialists are either. That's the problem. And knowing this upfront actually is a superpower for you, because it means you stop waiting for a referral that does not exist. So stop wasting your time and then moving on, which is the step 3, finding a treatment therapist. Most parents hear the word CBT or cognitive behavior therapy at the appointment and then go find the nearest therapist. It's almost like CBT's the answer. Like, we were told to find a CBT therapist, so that's the answer. That's what we're doing. So let me tell you, you're not doing anything wrong, but this is a common pitfall. Why? Because a CBT or cognitive behavior therapy is a massive umbrella. I have been trained on CBT for all my life, and there are so many different types of CBT, and the most general talk therapists have 0, absolutely zero experience with FND. Even if they have heard of it, they think it's the same thing as a conversion disorder, which is a pure mental health disorder that was caused by stress, anxiety, and trauma. So if you are finding that kind of therapist, then I would say go find somebody else, because FND-literate therapists are so rare. You may not find a specialist in your town or state or city or even like your region. The Family Guy shares a handful of practical strategies to help you get out of this survival mode, and it shows why our structured approach gets such a strong result. Grab it from the description below. It is free. So when you call providers, this is what you do. Ask, hey, are you familiar with FND or functional neurological disorder, which is not the same thing as convergent disorder? If the answer is no, then the follow-up question is, are you willing to learn? Because what you're looking for is you're looking for a therapist who understands that FND is a neurological communication issue, not just stress, as I mentioned, right? So the great way to help them, for those who don't understand FND, is to for example, share this video and this channel with them. What it does is it gives them a starting point for the specific science they need to support your team. And if your doctor has no names, that's okay. Look for not so much of a CBT therapist, because you're going to catch all of the other CBT therapists, but what you want to look for is a neuropsychologist or health psychologist. For your teen specifically, it could be pediatric health psychologist or pediatric psychologist. Don't get bogged down by finding quote-unquote child therapist, because child therapist is also a giant umbrella that also work with anxiety, ADHD, autism, behavior problems. So they're not necessarily equipped with health psychology issue, which is what you're looking for. These people, neuropsychologists, health psychologists, pediatric health psychologists, or pediatric psychologists, they are often the most familiar with this brain-body connection. And there is also a possibility that you might need to start building your own team. So, which means that you're now the general contractor of your teen's recovery, which leads to the step number 4, your role as a clinical caregiver in some way. Since expert providers are so scarce, your role at home becomes the most critical factor in recovery, and it is backed by research. Recent research in the most successful pediatric FND outcomes found that whopping 94% of the cases where teens saw real improvement actually has something to do with involving the caregivers directly in that process. This means you are not just a driver who's going to drop off your child for an appointment. You're actually a core member of the treatment team. And this is exactly what I do in my online program, Teen FND Academy. Parents, you are required to be part of the program. Now, this means learning how to respond when symptoms happen. And here are 2 things that I would say don't do it to begin with. Okay? If possible, I would say do not remove every single responsibility from your teen while going through the recovery. Now, it's easier said than done. Just kind of make that note about it for now. And then second, this might be a little bit easier for you to do. However, it could be emotionally harder to do. But the second one would be stop repeatedly asking them, how are you feeling? Did you have an episode? How are you doing? All of those things. These things are coming from a place of love and care and concern. No doubt. Absolutely. And after all, that is what you do. Right? And so how come they're not helpful? Because both of these things actually increase what it's called a symptom chasing behavior, and then focusing on the symptom like a front and center, which research shows can actually make FND worse. So you don't want to be trapped in this loop of being stuck. So you want to get out of the stuck loop. So we want to validate your teen's pain while maintaining a normal supportive structure as much as possible, which leads to step 5. Let's talk about school, because the data is also very clear on the school environment. 97%, so almost like a close 100%, 97% of successful FND recovery plans absolutely include active school participation. So you cannot leave the school out of the loop and expect a full recovery. Instead of general disability accommodations like your child has this permanent disability, because FND is not a permanent disability, disability, you need a specific something called school action plan. You need to be able to tell the school basically, hey, my teen has a confirmed neurological diagnosis called FND or Functional Neurological Disorder. These symptoms are real and my child is not making things up. To make this easier, I have actually put together a template for this exact conversation in my Teen FND Family Action Plan guide, which I have linked in the description box below. It literally covers the specific adjustments your teen needs in school, like a quiet rest place and a protocol for staff, kind of like what to do and what not to do. So the school becomes a place of recovery, not a place of stress. Now, this gives you the exact tools that the research says are non-negotiable for success, which leads to, let's talk about step 6, home response plan. Did you know that FND cost the US healthcare system over $1.2 billion every single year? And that's with B, not million. $1.2 billion. Mostly because families end up in the ER or emergency room with no plan. And again, this is really sad to say because it's not just the financial cost, we're talking about emotional cost, the time away from your work, the time that you have to drop everything, and then the time that your child is missing out. Look, FND is not a medical emergency, but this is just as debilitating as any other diagnosis. And every single day goes by, I don't mean to scare you, but the reality is that your child is missing out. And we're talking about your child's future. So for example, functional seizures are not dangerous in the way epileptic seizures are. They don't require emergency rescue medications or calling 911 every single time. That can actually reinforce this fear response in the teen's brain, like something must be dangerous, this is not good, this is bad. And you need a written home response plan because you want to be ahead of the game rather than reacting and then feeling helpless. And it should cover how to keep them safe, how to stay calm for you and your child, and then specifically what signs actually warrant an emergency call. So this could be something like a secondary injury after a fall, for example. So it's not the actual FND symptom, but the secondary thing, or whatever else you need to be on a lookout. And this is a conversation you have to have with a provider or healthcare doctor. Having this on the fridge actually stops the panic for you and your teen and prevents unnecessary expensive hospital stays and time lost, which leads to talking about time, step 7. The last step is to set a check-in date 30 days from today. So if you're watching this video today, set a timer for 30 days because by that day, you should have 3 things in motion. At least you have contacted some therapists and providers and asked if they know FND or they're willing to learn FND specific protocols. So share this video in my channel. Number 2, you have created the school action plan by downloading my guide and then provided the guide to the school counselor or whoever needed at school. And number 3, you have at least created and written your home response plan ready. If you want to see how my full program of Teen FND Academy works and how it's helping families resolve FND for real, then watch the video linked in the description box below. You now have a 7-step plan for the first week. It sounds like a lot, so take your time and then go one at a time because these steps will get you organized. And for those who like structure and then just tell me what to do kind of mindset, this is it. But at some point, you're going to wonder, okay, is this actually working? You know, like what other families are actually doing? And then are they actually seeing any real progress? Well, if that is what you're wondering, I wanted to show you exactly how this progress looks. So I made a video called Families with FND Reveal 3 Life-Changing Recovery Strategies. And these are the actual families who have been exactly where you are right now, and watch that video next.